I recorded this yesterday and then the file corrupted. But it's 2024, it's episode 3 of the KnitOnePurrrTwo knitting podcast, take 2. And it's New Year, say me, because it's taken me ages to film something. But not as long as last time, so I'm getting better. Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a knitter from Birmingham in the UK, and yeah, it's January 1st. I tried to do this yesterday and get it done, but then obviously it didn't really work. I'm still not great at working out how to do the technology on all these things. So at least it's daylight now, because I did it at like 9 o'clock last night and it was pitch black and you couldn't really see much. So maybe the world works in mysterious ways and wanted me to do it today. I'm going to jump right into it because I'm known to ramble and I have lots of things to show you. So Happy New Year, everyone. First of all, I should say that. That's one thing I should say. Happy New Year. I hope that you had a fantastic end of last year. I hope that you are excited for a new one. And if you want to stay exactly the same, that's absolutely amazing. If you want to have some resolutions, that's cool too. If the resolutions are good things and enjoyable things, that's even better. Things like you want to try more cheeses, or you want to read a few more books, or scroll less, or I don't know. Don't punish yourself too much. I'm already rambling. Let's talk about what I'm wearing. I am wearing this jumper that I wear a lot. I get a lot of wear from this. This is the Call It a Day jumper by Drops. It is a free pattern. I knit it in, I think, I knit it in January 2022. No. Did I? Like, we was watching Bob the Drag Queen's comedy special last night, and she was talking about how, like, everything post-COVID just feels like one big year, and that is so true. I completely agree with that. I knit this. I'm checking my Ravelry right now. In January 2022, I started on the 2nd of Jan. So it's like birthday. And I finished on the 14th. I knit it in so quickly. And it was my stash busting project to get rid of lots of my super chunky yarn that I had bought early on in my knitting journey. But lots of random oddballs from John Lewis. So all of this, I think, apart from a little bit at the end, is knitting. John Lewis and Erica Knight, super chunky, 100% wool. This is the jumper again. It has, it's a top down. I think it was like my first top down that I did. And then the pattern calls for all one colour, but I obviously added in, because I didn't have a sweater's quantity of one like colour, instead, one shade. Instead, I actually printed off the design and the chart, and actually coloured in different sections to plan out where I wanted different colours. And I did like different versions of that, which sounds like quite a grown-up thing to do. I'm quite proud of myself for doing that. Just to work out how much yarn I had and made sure that I could use the most of it. And at the time when I wanted to stash bust this, I thought, well, I want to use up lots of super chunky right now because, you know, we've still got some cold months coming through in England. It's usually cold until like April. So I thought, well, I'll get some good wear out of it from this year, which I did. And I still wear it a lot. And I knew at that time I wasn't really knitting much with super chunky. I kind of gone away from that for a while. So I wanted to just use what I had because it was using up a lot of space in the hoard. It's a lovely pattern. It's all done with different stitch placements, like different stitch patterns to create different patterns. You can't see them as much really because of the different yarns. I think the original's knit in cream and you can really make them out. But you can, I think in this view you can see them quite well. You can also see the pilling that is happening. This yarn does pill. We're going to talk about pilling a lot today. I don't have a defuzzer. I need to get one, a depiller comb, wool comb thing. But to be honest, I wear this a lot in the house and under my coat when I'm out, but I don't like wear it to work or anything like that. So no one's really seeing it too much, but I definitely do need to like deepen it. Are you allowed to just pull these off? Sorry, I got distracted then. It's a really comfy jumper. You can see that the neckline is very low, actually, even though it's ribbed, the rib has stretched a little bit. And I could put elastic in it, but I just find for myself that if I covered up my neck, I'd get really hot in it because it's, you know, all the way, it goes all the way to my wrist. It's a long jumper. It's 100% wool. So I didn't want to also cover up my neck and then be like, feel as if I'm really warm in it and not comfortable. So I like the way it's quite low. The pattern is called Call It a Day. I call it the January jumper because I knit it in January and I'm really proud that I finished it in like 2 weeks. God of those days of being able to sit and knit lots. Yeah, I love it. I love the pink in it. The pink is so nice, that kind of corally pink. I really look like that's one of my go-to colours, I think, and it definitely is. In this episode we got lots of pink happening today. So I might talk about some finished objects now. I'm going through this much quicker than I did yesterday because I'm aware that I don't want my videos to be super long, super long, and the last two have been really long. And also as I said, I've filmed it once before, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. So the first thing I'm going to show you for my first finished object is here. I haven't even folded it up because it was just bunged there last night. But this, ding, is my first finished object. This is my pink corner to corner blanket. I talked about this on episode 2 of the podcast. I had knit another version of it before this one that I wasn't very happy with because the yarn just wasn't right for the project and how I'd the yarn just didn't work for many reasons. If you're interested, go and look at the episode. But I had some of this pink left over from that and thought, I'm not going to let this pattern I'm not going to let that project, that outcome beat me, because I loved the project a lot. I wanted the final outcome to be as strong as I intended it to be, and I wanted to make sure that I was giving Annalise a blanket that was like successful, and I was proud for her to have out. And it's a really simple pattern, so I needed like a mindless knit. If you need a mindless knit, go for this one. This is the Pastel Stripes Baby Blanket by Louise Bolaños, baby. And it's really easy. It's a free pattern online. I found it on Pinterest, but it's also on Ravelry. It's on my Ravelry project if you're interested. And it's just garter backwards and forwards, and then you do some increases either side, which create this lovely eyelet pattern. And then when you get to halfway across, like how much wool you want to use, how much yarn you want to use, then you just do exactly the same thing, but you decrease going up, so you do knit twos together and include those yarn overs too along the edge. And I did a lot of this like straight away after I knit the first blanket. Then I just had some left over to do like a small amount. I hardly had any left to do, and for some reason it just got put on the pile. I think the weather got warmer and I wasn't too fussed about it, so I just dropped it on the pile. And then before October half term hit, which me and my husband are both teachers, so we both had that week off together. We went to Venice, and I thought, I'm going to finish some projects for Venice. I've got to finish some bits off. And I thought she could have this in the pram because we weren't sure how cold it was going to be, that type of thing. It was cold. I thought Italy would be warm in the end of August still. It was warm the first day. We got there, we walked on the beach. It was lovely. And then the rest of the time, it was cold. It was really cold. And I wore like my waterproof and layers, trousers light. And she had this on, which was brilliant. It's a really lovely pram blanket. And I just did, like, I got to 50 grams of both of the colours, because obviously I did the light bit first, the one ball, then I started to feed in, I think this is the back actually, sorry, it's not that it matters too much. Then I started to bring in and alternate with the dusky pink, and then I finished it off here. But I got to the point where I had like this much left to do, and I thought, should I just cast it? I ran out of yarn, just ran out. And I thought, should I just cast it off and it had this funny straight edge? And I thought that's going to look really weird. So I just used a little bit of scrap white acrylic that ironically I had used to finish off the sleeves, because I ran out. This one section of white on the sleeves is acrylic from my stash, and I used the same yarn as that to finish this off. So it looks a little bit like the rubber on the end of a pencil. I don't know. And it's just a little cute accent. It proves it's a stash busting project, which I'm fine with. I'm happy with. Does that look wrong there? Oh, don't look at that. I was quite proud of it until I saw that bit. And she used it loads, and she still uses it. And I've got some cute pictures of her in Venice with the blanket on. I think I'll put them here. Ding. Yeah, and I recommend it. It's knit with Aldi Chenille Chunky Baby yarn, which was like super dirt cheap. Aldi's a supermarket in the UK and across Europe, I think. And they sometimes have yarn for sale in their special buys, and people rave about their chenille. And I bought it ages ago, like years ago, and I think I had with the idea that I would use it at some point for presents, and I ended up using it for my own baby. There we go. There's the chenille. Corner to corner blanket. She uses it loads. Super squish. Squish factor is high. I rate it like a 4 out of 5 on squish. There we go. First finished object done. So my second finished object is this little thing. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Look at this little cute thing. This is the Calendula jumper by Sandra Magalhaes. I talked about this in episode 2 as well. I finally finished it. It's here in all of its glory, and it is a very sweet little jumper. The pattern is wonderful. Everyone knows that I love Sandra's patterns. I can't stop talking about her as a knitwear designer. She is incredibly thorough, incredibly helpful. Her designs are beautiful, and she's just very uplifting in the knitting community. I feel like she shares a lot of people's projects that they've made when they've used her patterns. She is really easy to reach out to if you have any issues, which I've never had to really do apart from during a test knit. I've test knit for her a few times, and she's brilliant during that process. And her designs are very like quite classic, quite simple, but with like a but with interesting details to them, and also sections that you can really easily modify. So if you look at this jumper here, I keep going to call it a cardigan, that's why I keep pausing. If you look at this jumper here, it's so easily modifying, you know, top down. You could do like cables in it, you could do your own stitch patterns inside of it, you could do some duplicate stitch, anything really. And then once you've got that pattern in your library as well, I think the sizes go from like 0 to 2 years for the baby pattern. So you can get all the sizes. So with this pattern, I'm now going to knit some something for my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. They're having a baby. So I'm going to knit him a little one. So a really good investment, and the patterns are super affordable and cheap anyway. She does a deal where I think if you buy 4, you get 25% off on her Etsy as well. So check her out for sure. Annalise has worn this so much. I knit it, I started it in September, 1st September I think, and she was about 9 months then, and I thought I'd knit it really fast, so I did the 9 to 12 month size, and then realised that I went back to work, teaching Mondays and Tuesdays, and then life just happened. It was a really busy time, and I just stopped knitting on it, and then I think, oh my god, I'm not going to finish it in time for it to fit her. She's not a chunky baby, but she's a tall baby, and I was really worried about it not fitting her, but it does. I finished it and it does fit her, and she wears it so much. As soon as I cast off the rib for the sleeve, I was like, let's get it on her. And she looks so cute in it. Put some pictures here. Oh my gosh, she looks like a proper little person in it, I think, because it's like cream, but it's actually quite, it's not necessarily like a baby looking cardigan. So adorable. The yarn. Let's talk about the yarn. The yarn is Rico Baby Dream double knit in, I don't know, cream and like a pink gradiented colour. I'm going to put the shade names down here if you're that interested. I bought the yarn from Abercarn in Shrewsbury in the sale, but I looked this up yesterday filming, and it is not the cheapest of acrylic yarns for babies that you can buy. You get 50-gram balls, and it's 50% acrylic, 50% polyamide, and it's £5 a ball, which I think for a double knit is quite expensive. If you can get a Stylecraft Bambino for £2.99, 100 grams, you know, that's a bit different to paying like £10 for 100 grams for this. But I thought I'll try it. I hadn't really tried Rico before, I don't think. And while I was knitting it, it is a very soft, it's a very soft jumper. When I finished it, my husband was like, this is luxurious, Han. I was like, thanks. And it is very soft, and we've washed it about 3 times, 4 times, and it is washed really well. But don't you think it's like pilling like crazy? I don't know if you can really see it on there, but now on the website it says it's very durable, which sure, I guess it is. And I know that she's, you know, in this process, she started crawling like as soon as we started making this jumper. So she's moving a lot more than she was. So I can't really compare it to previous knits I've done where she wasn't moving as much. But even under the arms, it's not too bad. But like on the tummy, it's really bad. I don't know. I'm quite shocked, really. I just feel like it looks like it's like a really old jumper. Look at the bottom. It looks like it's been washed about 20 times and it's only been washed 4. So I don't know. Annoyingly, I've got some more of that yarn because I bought it and I loved it. It's like another gradient of like purples and blues, I think, and pinks. I'll still use it for something, definitely, but I was just a bit like a bit annoyed really that it's peeled this much. Oh well. The back, I did not do joggler stripes because I did at the beginning and then couldn't be bothered for the rest of it, to be honest. I just wanted to knit and not think about it and just get it finished. So I had these like steps in my pink and brown stripes. So I just got some buttons from the stash and did like a fake little button back, almost like they have on like white stuff jumpers and cardigans. Yeah, and that's the back. It's got a cute little apple button. It's a cute jumper. She's worn it a lot. I would definitely knit the pattern again. Would I use this yarn again for it? I don't know. My tension is much tighter on this than on other things. I made sure I used a smaller needle so that my gauge was good. Whether that's made a difference to the pilling, probably not. I don't know. I'm just trying to find excuses for things, but it's just a bit, I don't know. I just need to get a depiller, don't I? That's the moral of the story. Cool. That's my second finished object. I'm going through these fast for me. I decided when we booked Venice very late that I wanted her to have a cardigan or like a jacket that she could wear during that holiday that was really like her Venice jacket, her Venice cardigan, because obviously knitting for children is very different to knitting for adults, because they're only going to wear it for such a short amount of time that almost every piece you make is extra special, because I can almost look at her, the garments that she's made, that I've made for her and that she's worn, and like known when, you know, they were at particular times. So this is when she I don't know, this is when she was in the era of like not really sitting up, or this is when she was really tiny and she was still in her Moses basket for naps, you know. So this was her first summer. Like I think that's quite a sweet idea, and so I thought I'm going to knit her something just for this first holiday abroad. Oh god, look at this spot. Anyway, I'm going to knit her something for this first abroad holiday, and it's the first one we went on since COVID as well, so we hadn't been away on a plane for like over 3 years. But I know I decided this like the Monday. I got the wool. I ordered some wool in the drop sale from Wool Warehouse, and it came on like the Monday or the Saturday, and I started knitting it then, and we were flying on the Saturday morning, sorry. And I finished it. I did this pattern. I did this project in a day. What am I saying? I'm like all over the place. I'm going to do this bit again. it's not that big again. Oh my gosh. I knit this in a week, is what I'm trying to say. The yarn is Drops Andes, which is their super chunky wool and alpaca, I think. It's one of the first yarns I bought online, and first jumper I made was in it, and I love it. And this is the little cardigan I made. Oh no, it's got some fluff on it. This little cutie thing, this little trendy cute cardi here is the Peony Bubbles cardigan. And there is no way I'm going to be able to pronounce the designer's name. I'm sorry. So I'll put the designer's name here. And she has beautiful patterns. I think I bought this pattern a long time ago in the adult version and tried to knit it and then got confused because it was very early on in my beginning to do the sleeves. I just couldn't get it. Anyway, I have the baby version now, so maybe I should try and find that in my library, and then I can re-knit it. This is so sweet. It's a really easy pattern. Don't look at the sleeves too closely, like the joins. We'll talk about that in a minute. The pattern is like, it's paid for, but it's a simple construction, and you could definitely do it as a beginner for sure. Sorry, my chair is very creaky. That's not what that noise is. My swivel chair, and it's... I'm going to try and find a place where it doesn't squeak. Okay, anyway. Gosh, I get so distracted. It's garter, obviously, all the way on the body, and then it has this really funky sleeve pattern that's almost like a blackberry stitch, but a bit different. Easier than a blackberry stitch, I think. And it's knit in pieces, so you do the back, then you do the two fronts, the sides, the sleeves, and then you pick up to do the button band. I didn't add any buttons, I just went straight for like an open jacket style. And as I said, I knit it in Drops Andes in off-white and medium pink. I think this pink is more like a pinky purple. I can check that. This is pilled like mad, which I expect from a super chunky wool. As we said at the beginning of the oh, look at the end. As I said at the beginning of the video with the jumper that I'm wearing, you expect it from 100% wool, right? Especially placed like under the arms and things. And she moves about in this a lot. She wears it a lot. It was quite a cheap little thing to make actually, because of the sale price as well. And you don't actually use up too much yarn because you're using it big for a small person. It's powder pink is the pink. I've just checked my notes. And yeah, it was she does look very cute in it. She still wears it now. I definitely need to depill it. It's probably just getting a bit too small for on her arms. But in Venice, oh my gosh, just so cute. Rialto bridge. I don't think she wore it Murano. I think she wore it in the day we went around Venice a lot. And it was a really good in between seasons knit, because it works as a jacket for her without her having to have her snowsuit on as well. Would I knit it again? Yes. I would get better at knitting the sleeve, sewing the sleeves on. I did this is the second attempt, and I finished it at like midnight, and we were flying. We had to get up at 3 a.m. so I had like 2 hours sleep, but it was totally worth it because she looked adorable in it. And it is now her like Venice vanilla gelato cardi. That's what I'm calling it on Ravelry anyway. Super cute. Super cute. My last finished object. Are they all they're all baby things today? All my FOs. Not all my whips though. This is the Mossy Baby bonnet, but I called it the Mossy Pixie bonnet. My sunshine bonnet. And again, it's by Sandra Magalhaes. I have already knit one of these before in raspberry pink, and Annalise wore it so much when she was about 3 to 9 months old, and I found it the other day and put it on her, and it still fits her. It's knit in the same wool as this one. This is 100% merino by Katia, and it's so stretchy. I cannot believe how stretchy this yarn is, and that's why the smallest one still fits her because there's just so much stretch in it. I'd also knit this pattern in Sirdar Replay originally for like a tiny size for her, and maybe that's why I'm thinking this is really stretchy, because that's more cotton and it doesn't stretch as much. But this is just a brilliant yarn to work with. It's £5.50 for a 50 gram ball, so it's relatively expensive, but it's 100% merino. Depending on your like price, like availability and accessibility, I personally wouldn't knit a whole sweater in it unless I could get it on the cheap, but it's fantastic for little accessories. I don't have to wash this because it's, I don't know if it is machine washable. I'm gonna check that now. Let me check. Don't want to be giving out false information here. There's enough fake news in the world. Okay, it is machine washable at 30, wool cycle. Do not bleach, low iron. It's a really beautiful yarn. You get 102 meters for 50 grams. So I think I used a whole ball apart from like a tiny bit for this, which is the 12 to 18 months size. And it's knit flat. It's really simple construction, really like effective little knit. She looks very adorable in it. My baby's adorable. What can I say? I did good. Best thing I made in 2022 was that baby. And I would knit the pattern again. I'm going to continue to knit baby bonnets forever because they are gender neutral. So they work for any type of baby and any type of parent, because some people want to dress their babies in very neutral colours. Some people don't. So, and neutral garments. And this is a very neutral garment to create. It's really simple, so it's a mindless knit, but it's really effective on her and she looks so sweet, and they do look really cute in them. They look like little woodland creatures. And I think because of the construction of this, it goes, I'll put a picture in, but it goes around her head, her face here, and then covers her ears up and then goes to the nape of her neck. So her whole head is covered, and like a good part of her head, you know, her ears are completely in. So she's warm in it. Whereas like a ribbed beanie, to me, one, is a bit boring to make because it's just the same thing over and over again. But also knitting in the round for small things, I just fed up of it. It doesn't always cover their ears, and I think this has much more coverage. So if you are thinking about knitting hats for babies, I've knit quite a few, whack myself in the face, I would go with the Mossy baby bonnet. I highly recommend. And the stitch definition is so beautiful on all of the yarns that I've used for this pattern. Have I mentioned that I love Sandra Magalays? Should I mention it again? There's my finished objects. Did I do that quite quickly? Maybe. Probably not. I don't know. Time is a social construct. Let's have a break. Let's look at some whips. I've been doing some reflection because it was the end of the year, and thinking about looking at what I had, looking at my stash. I'm staring at a massive pile of yarn right now that needs to go in the loft with the rest of the hoard. I have been adding it all to Ravelry, so I know what I have down here, but I've also been buying a lot, which I'm going to talk about in my acquisition section. I have a lot of whips. I counted them. They're all at the side of the desk in like it was a basket originally, and then the box got put next to the basket with another lot of whips in, and then some bags on top of those. And I went through them the other day, and I wrote them all down. I have 18 whips. And I used to be like a monogamous knitter where I'd only knit on one thing at a time. And then I just got excited by all of the possibilities. I think I like joined Ravelry and that was it. I was done for, wasn't I? So I have a lot of things that I need to decide on what I'm doing with, and I think I might do a separate video on frogging or not frogging these, because there's some really interesting things in there, some really boring things in there. And I'm going to talk you through one of my whips at the moment that I started very recently that I think is already going to be in the frog pile, but we'll see. Let's look at it. Let's look at it on here. So last episode, that was a big segue, sorry. I was doing well, wasn't I, with my timing? In the last episode, I showed this cardigan that I made for Annalise, which is the Catching Waves cardigan by Sirdar, that I love. I am obsessed with. She wears a lot. I loved making it. I love the yarn. It's replay yarn. Obsessed. Would make it again, definitely. And when I finished it, I thought, I'm going to make myself a version. And I talked about this a little bit in the last video and said, oh, I don't know what to do either way. Maybe I won't do it. And I bought a pattern for it. I searched high and low for a feather and fan style pattern, which is this like kind of chevron, wave chevron ripple effect. And I found this pattern and I bought it off eBay, off a random seller, and it came in the post, and I felt very old school, very 5 years ago. And I started it, and I started it on my birthday weekend with some yarn I bought from the drop sale where I bought the Andes. I bought some drops air. I have some in stash already, and I've only really used it once. This was in the stash. This is heather. And then I bought strawberry. These are their new colours. Newer colours. Strawberry ice cream. Cute. Sweet apricot. Also cute. And sweet orchid. Cute. Right? And I wanted to make like a adult version of her cardigan, so a bit more bougie a wall, something that I would wear a little bit more, and just a bit different, I guess. And then I had the heather, and these were the colours that I could work out that were the most similar to the pattern. Now, the pattern shape is very different on the cardigan, but I tried to make it as close to hers as I could, so it doesn't have like a bottom rib. So I added a bottom rib in, and I tried to do the maths, and I just made everything much more complicated, but I did do it. And I did this much on my birthday weekend. We went away for my birthday. Me and Jack, my husband, we went to Wales, my favourite place in the world, and I knit on this on the night, and I got quite a lot done in the car and on that night. Right, this is like the front, the first front. Let's talk through the issues with this. First thing, that heather, even though like it goes, I think it goes when they're together, I just don't think that this dark like wine red purple, it's more purpley in real life, but I just don't think it goes with the rest of it. I think it dulls it down. I think it's too dominant with the pink and orange. The pink and orange blend too much. It doesn't work as well, which is annoying, really. But I thought I'll just keep going with it, and it might, as I spread it out, look better, right? The second thing, so that's the colour. The second thing, the pattern is in pieces, so it's 2 fronts, back and sleeves, which I've kind of gone away from because top down is so much easier to do, so much more mindless knitting, and I just hate sewing up. Like I knit to knit, I don't knit to sew up. But I thought this was the only pattern I could find, so I went with it. The ripple, the feather and fan, is a different stitch pattern to the Catching Waves. So it took me a minute to get used to that. And I was like, okay, I can kind of get the pattern of it now. And obviously I think I went wrong quite a lot at the bottom, and then I kind of got it and did all right. I did the rest of it quite fast. And then I got to the sleeves, right? To the sleeves, which is the third issue. With piece, what I don't like about pieces is that you have to like decrease and do all these maths with a stitch, with a quite complicated like pattern happening with your stitches, with yarn overs, knit twos together, all the things. So you have to decrease, and then obviously when you're doing then the sleeve, you have to then do some decreasing, and then you have to sew it up anyway. So it's like more work than you need to do, which is fine if it's like a simple pattern, but it's annoying compared to top down. It's like, you know, once you've tasted top down, like you don't want to do piecework, do you? And what is the most annoying thing in patterns, I find, and I've had this happen twice in the last few weeks on this and another abandoned project, and it's just like continuing pattern whilst decreasing, which is very annoying because, especially when there's like 7 sizes to work through, because if I'm decreasing in pattern, I then need to work out like whether I'm doing the yarn over section or the knit two together section. And I just like, I've bought a pattern so I can just look at it and just tell me what I need to do, right? Just tell me what I need to do. I don't know. It's not even like in a recipe where it says season to taste, because that's to taste. But knitting is technical and it's mathematical. And when it says continuing pattern and I'm doing like a feather and fan, I don't know what that means. I don't know at what point I'm at. And yes, I could count and think, well, the yarn over would be this many stitches and then it's together. But I shouldn't have to do that. And I can't do that when I'm in the car and I'm trying to get something done quickly, which is how I knit. So that was like the third thing that annoyed me. And then the fourth thing, this is why this is condemned to the frog pile, this. You cast on for the button band, right? You cast on 6 stitches. It's garter the whole way up. So wouldn't you just like do your one, like you do this row and then the last 6 stitches would be garter, right? Then you turn around and do 6 stitches and you go back and do the ripple and the feather and fan. But this pattern is very odd in that you cast them on and then you put them on a stitch holder and then you knit the rest of the side and then you go back at the end and knit the garter band and either sew it up together afterwards or I don't know, or like pick up as you go. Like, what is that? It's so complicated. It's like so much more complicated than it needs to be. So I had done the rib and I thought, screw it, I'm going to also do the garter at the same time and just obviously do it in the light purple colour so we could match. But then it just got confusing with the ripple and fan and I like was struggling to do the colours together and there was like too many. The common denominator is not me. The common denominator is the pattern. And I stand by that. So I think I'm going to frog this. I know that I've just spent 8 minutes talking about a project that I'm going to get rid of. But I think it's worth talking about because we see a lot of finished objects and a lot of productivity on social media in the knitting community and on Ravelry. And we see these incredible pieces and we sometimes feel not as successful in our hobbies and like very like downtrodden when we aren't successful with, you know, like when we fail basically. But this is part of the process. It's part of the learning process. I've got very animated about this, but it's annoying, isn't it? And yeah, and this wool deserves to be used the colours are too pretty, especially those 3. I also have 3 balls of each, so I have enough to make something else in it. So I've got some plans that I'm gonna use this for, I think, in the back of my head. Sorry about that rant. Just thought I'd include it. So that's a whip that's going to be frogged. I also, this is just a little fun fact. When we went away, we only went for 2 nights, and I took 9 balls of wool with me. I ordered it and it came, so I just took the whole bag. 9 balls of 50 grams. Why did I do that? I think I just was like, just put it all in. I might have a chance to actually knit. And yeah, that's where my brain was at that point. I've opened the window because I can't take the jumper off because my pyjamas are on underneath. So hopefully you can hear the birds singing. Very cute. My last whip I'm going to talk about, I think, is this beauty. Now this is a successful whip. I'm happy with this. Oh no, I've got another one, but I'm very close to finishing it, so it's kind of in the in-between. This is, I'm very excited by this. God, it looks so good. It looks so good. And this is when you need to stop knitting the thing that you're not liking and just put it away for a bit and work on something that you are enjoying. This is the Meadow Vine Cable Cowl or Cable Scarf by Kristen McDonnell. Her brand, I think, is Studio Knit. Who's that drink? It is a free pattern alert. I love a free pattern. And it's really simple. I hadn't done cable for a couple of years and I really love it. I just wanted something that was relatively simple but looked more advanced and more effective than just like stock pardon me, stockinette. And oh my gosh, it's reversible because it's a rib, and I think it's an 8-row repeat, so it's a really easy pattern to remember. Though I did go wrong and I did have to frog back about this much the other day, and I was quite sad, but I've been able to knit back onto it again. I've still got a bit more to get to that point. This is Drops Andy's, the same as the Peony Bubble cardigan, and is a high squish factor. The colour is stunning. You can't really see it on this. I'll try and do like a little cutaway. If I remember, it's the orange mix is different to the shades because it does have like a real mix of shades in there. So it has red, yellow, orange applied together. So you get the different tones, and because of the way that the cables work, the light hits it in and it looks different in different ways. It's got like a Gryffindor vibe to it, it's got an autumnal vibe to it. It's just a lovely scarf, and I've got I think 2 more balls of this. Yeah, 2 more balls, so it's gonna be quite a long scarf to wear. I've been wearing lots of big blankety scarves and ponchos recently, so I thought this will be a good addition. I highly recommend, if you don't already have one of these, I'm sure you do, but if you don't, please get your hands on a row counter that looks like this, because it's the easiest way of keeping track of things. And I went wrong a few times, and then I had to rip it back. Even for an 8-row repeat, I went wrong, and I think just make your life a little bit easier. Plus, it's really cute and like a little vintage little addition. I have other row counters too, but I could never find them, and I end up just doing like a tally chart on my arm. Buy a row counter, it's really helped me. And it's in this beautiful project bag, which is by Ruby and Ginger. I bought it in Portmaddock a few years ago, and it's my go-to like dump it in project bag because it can sit on my desk, and it has a big open top with no drawstring or anything, so you can just easily bung your projects in. You can put your balls of wool in while you're knitting from them, and they just bounce around in there, and it looks very chic. It's William Morris, it's beautiful, check them out too. It is hot in here. As I said earlier, I have bought a lot of wool recently, a lot of yarn, because there's been sales on. There's been Black Friday, there's been the Christmas sale, the January sale, which apparently is a different one, and it was my birthday, it was Annalise's birthday, so my anniversary of being a mum, and Christmas, so like I needed an excuse to buy yarn, and there's just been so many good bargains. So I'm going to talk through a couple of them. I have a big drops order coming because the alpaca sale was on, so I have some more melody coming in pistachio. Oh, I'm so excited. And I have lots of Nepal coming. My plan for the Nepal, I already have some left over from the pink striped cardigan, and I also bought some other colours before, so I currently have these colours at the Nepal, and my plan is to, this year, because I was inspired by everyone's advent, and I'm inspired by temperature blankets and mood blankets and those types of things. I thought last year I might do a temperature blanket for Annalise's first full year. I thought I might do a mood blanket in the past, but for myself personally, I think being very aware of how my mood is every day would not be the greatest thing for mental health. I've tried to do like mood trackers before in the past through journaling and that type of thing, and it's not really worked for me. It's not really helped me feel better on bad days, and yeah, so I thought I don't really want to make a massive blanket and like dwell on my mood, and also sometimes think the bad days might be like, oh, it was okay, and like lie a little bit, and then have a lying blanket. Anyway, so I'm not going to do a mood blanket, is what I'm saying. Although I love the idea of doing something across the year. So instead, I am going to do the piece by piece blanket by Anna Homebird. Anna Homebird is the designer's name. Her handle on Instagram is Pattern Knits, and if you've not seen this blanket, Oh my gosh, it's incredible. Anna is a new mum as well. She has a little baby who's gorgeous called Ren, and she's an incredible designer. She also is a teacher, so I feel like I have an affinity with this person through social media. She's much more prolific as a designer and knitter. Well, I'm not a designer, but you know, as a knitter than I am. Anyway, I'm going to make her blanket this year is my plan. In Nepal. She calls for Nepal for it. That's one of her suggestions. And I've ordered... I'm trying to find the correct way of saying this without swearing. A huge amount of Nepal in lots of colours in their sale, so that I can start this. I have not really done any colour work that much. I've done like one cowl and hat and mitten set a long while ago that was not really colour work. So it's going to be more like colour work challenge for 2024. That's my plan. And there's 40 individual squares in the pattern that you buy, so you get 40 different ones. And I'm thinking I'm gonna try. I don't want to say I'm gonna try and do one a week, because then when I fail I'll be really sad. But I'm really gonna try and do that. So maybe I should say it. And I'm really excited to work with these beautiful colours that Nepal comes in. I'm really excited to create something for our family that I can build on slowly but surely, and use colours that might match the mood, might match the season, might match the week that I've had. So if we've, you know, I don't know, we've just watched Encanto, I'm going to be using more colours like this, that if we watch Frozen that week. I don't know. This is my life now, watching Disney films. It's not a bad life, is it? So yeah, I'm really excited to start that, and I might try and film bits of it. I'll see how I get on, but yeah, I want to set myself a nice challenge, but something that's I'm going to learn something new with. That was why I started knitting, was to learn something new for each piece that I made. I haven't done that for a while, so this is going to be my little challenge to myself, and I'm going to come out with a nice blanket hopefully at the end. I'm going to try and start some of it today maybe, or at least this week, and get one done. And I was also inspired by another person on, I'm just gonna look for her. So the designer and the creator is Charlie from The Stitchery, and she has an amazing YouTube. And I watched her video the other day called I Spent 18 Months Learning Sashiko Embroidery, and it was a video showing that she bought a book with 36 patterns in it of Japanese Sashiko embroidery. I can't even say it because of my little list. Sashiko embroidery, and she did every single pattern in it. And I thought, I'm going to do every single pattern of the piece by piece blanket. I'm so optimistic. Some days I'm like, I can do this, and then other moments I'm like, what have I told myself I can do? And then I get annoyed because I have such high expectations for myself that when I don't get things done, I get really sad. So hopefully this is a nice project, but I'm just excited. I'm going to start, even though the rest of the colours haven't come yet, I'm going to start with these 4, which are not a bad 4 to start with, right? And colour work, you have to use like contrasting colours, so I feel like I can get some combinations with these, definitely. Cool. I bought on my birthday, in the middle of the night, some Sirdar yarn. Sirdar, one true love when it comes to yarn, really. Them and drops. I'm having like a polyamorous relationship with Sirdar and drops, really. But and also Katia. Oh gosh, this is gonna get complicated. Anyway. But I've never really bought Sirdar from them. I always buy it from local yarn shops and online retailers. I never buy it from them. And I was very jealous of people who got to put a picture on of their Sirdar delivery that had the A Up box on it. They're from Yorkshire. So I bought some yarn, not just for the box, but that was a nice highlight. Their sale for Black Friday on one of the days was buy 1 ball of yarn, get 2 free. Just take my money. Just take my money, Sirdar. Which they did. And I bought 15 balls of cashmere merino silk in the colour saddle brown. And brown isn't usually my go-to colour, but this is like a bronzy copper I can't even, like dairy milk coloured, beautiful, beautiful squishable yarn. It's 75% merino, 20% silk and 5% cashmere, which is bougie as hell. I bought 15 balls because I saw a pattern on their website, which I think I might make with it. Maybe I'll put it here. And it calls for 15 balls. Look at it in the box. It's like I won a prize. But I just bought myself the prize. This is £100 worth of wool. I spent £33 on it. Or 35. Isn't that insane? £35 on 15 balls of 50 grams cashmere merino silk. Like, what a birthday. I don't know when I'm going to use it. It is on my to-do list, but I have lots of things on my to-do list. And my queue is going to just be filled up, so it might just have to stay in its lovely box for a while. But that was some Sirdar that I bought that I thought I would share with you guys. And the box has been at the back there, hanging out all videos. It's been like, show me how pretty I am. And then I bought some more stuff I'm going to show you now. I don't know who he thinks we are. My husband put this in a Waitrose bag. We don't shop at Waitrose. I don't even know where this bag came from. Because I did a massive haul. The last haul I did, I thought, right. No, it was the penultimate haul. Because I bought loads in, I bought loads of drops after this, the day after. But I bought loads of Katia yarn. And then I paid £7 for next day delivery, thinking it was going to come before we went away. We went away to my in-laws for like a night, and it didn't come in time. But then they delivered it, and I was like, great, it's been delivered. Thinking that Royal Mail had delivered it to my neighbour. They just left it outside, and it's rained for 2 days, and the box was like sodden when we got home. So I was screwing, because this is £100, actually £100 I spent on this yarn. And I was really worried it was all damaged, but I think it's okay. And there's lots here. I'm just gonna... I bought a sweater's quantity of some. I bought some single quantities of some. And my plan is to... My idea with that is, because it was a good deal, it was like up to 50% off on the sale. There's so much more around me. Oh my gosh, look at this one. Was to buy some single skeins of things, try them out, and then plan from there. And maybe do like a little video of like reviewing them and things. I don't know. We'll see how we get on. Probably not. My life isn't as... Like, I'm not as efficient enough to do that. But I'm so excited to try these. Look at this one. This is what I've got the sweater's quantity in. The Concept Reiki. This was the one that was on the top that I was so worried was damaged, but I think it's okay. So I bought lots from Katia, which I'm going to talk about at another point. Oh my god. Oh my god. Some really beautiful. Oh my god. Yarn just makes me so happy. I know knitting and buying are two separate hobbies, and I don't know which one I love more. Probably buying it. Is that bad? Look at this one. And I've seen this in person, and it's like about £23 a ball originally. I got it for 17. I'm acting like I've got loads of money and I don't work part-time. I work part-time. I have no money. But you can't take it with you guys, can you? You know? You can't take it with you. The last little acquisitions I did, when we went to Venice, I bought some yarn. I'll put pictures of it here because it's currently at the pile it's on the whip pile, and it looks better in the pictures anyway. Here it is. And I bought this from a really cute wool shop in Venice called Lelibella. Which was very, very sophisticated and very Italian. And me and Mum went in our raincoats and was very brummy and kept picking things. Nothing had a price on it and everything was fancy. We kept going like, oh, well, how much is this? And then she'd say, and my mum would like throw it because she was like, woo, that's expensive. But I did buy 3 balls of different yarns so that I can make something inspired by Venice's waters. The water in Venice is beautiful. It's like turquoise, teal blue. Let me see if I can find it. It's just here. I'm just lying to you. It's only here. Look at this. This is alpaca silk. It's Lana Grossa Setasuri. And I bought 2 other balls of yarn. Mahonia and Vitamina. Adriafil and Adrian wool. And I have a plan to do a Venice inspired shawl with it, which I'm not going to talk about too much because I've messed it up. I was going to do it in panels like this. It looks okay actually on the screen, but it doesn't work well because the yarns are so different. This one's a chunky, this is chunky, this I'm holding double, but it's probably more like an Aran. I need to rethink it and maybe do it striped instead. But I want to do something inspired by my holiday in Venice. And I have lots of blue in my scrap bag as well. I'm wanting to use up some scrap, so that's something I might talk about at another time when I've done a little bit more thinking and a little bit more doing on that project. But I did buy some beautiful yarn from Venice, I should say that. Great. I'm really lucky that I have been asked to do some more knitting workshops. I did a knitting workshop, I ran a knitting workshop at the beautiful Harry and Floss haberdashery shop in Ulster, which is not too far from where I live. And it's a gorgeous wool and like knitting and dressmaking shop, and it has a workshop space at the top, and Amy, who runs the store, it was her mum's and now it's hers, and it's just such a beautiful little shop. It has really sweet decor, the products are great, really lovely vibe. She's so sweet. And I went in to go shopping, and then she said, I was talking about knitting, and she's more of a dressmaker, so she said, oh, I would love to run some knitting workshops, like would you be interested? And I was like, yes, okay. So I ran a knitting workshop in the beginning of December, and it went really well. There was 5 ladies on it, and it was a beginner's knitting workshop, although they'd all, apart from 1 or 2, like knitted a long time ago, back when they were like at school, or at least when they were like much younger. So it was kind of like a beginner / refreshers course, and it was really lovely to get to talk about knitting with somebody, because I don't have any. I have like one friend, Rach, my little friend Rach. Hello, Rachel. I have who I work with, and lives really close to me and has beautiful daughters, and we share a lot of love for yarn and love for wool. But we're the only 2 people that I know, apart from my family, in my life that knit. So in real life, so it was nice to talk to real people about knitting and get a bit geeky about it. And I showed them how to do cable, I showed them how to do buttonholes, and obviously then like the basics like knit purl and knit 2 together and yarn overs and that type of thing, and casting on and binding off. So Amy's asked me to do 2 more workshops, another beginner's workshop, and then a beginner's workshop that has a project base like activity in it as well, so they can either make something and then go away with it, or they can start something and then carry it on at home. So if anybody has any ideas of what I could do for this, that would be fantastic, because I have a couple of ideas, but I'm not sure how it will work. So if anybody has thought, oh, this was a really great first project to try, the workshops are 2 hours long, and obviously you can't get much done. You can't like knit a whole cardigan in 2 hours. So that would be helpful. If you have any ideas for what I could do for that workshop, that would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate that. And I'm really excited to get to do some teaching within knitting, because I've done some knitting at school, but only in like art club. So I've really enjoyed like marrying those 2 parts of my life together. Yes. Okay, last bit. So the plans. My plans for 2024. I plan on not really buying any more yarn, because I have so much. I have so much yarn, and it's getting to the point now where it's starting to become a bit stressful because I have so much. So I'm not going to buy any more yarn. I'm not going to do that, unless there's a cute little skein somewhere that I think I can't live without. But I'm not going to buy any more like sweater quantities of things, I don't think. Whatever. I'm very inspired by Retro Claude. I watch all of her videos, and she's been stash busting all of 2023. And I think she has a smaller stash than I do. And everything she makes, she like weighs out and she deducts, and then she increases if she buys new stuff, and she's trying to bust her stash. Because one, stash busting is the most sustainable way of knitting, because you already have it, you're not buying any more. It's cost effective because I've spent lots of money already, so now it's just free, right? If I'm knitting with this stuff is free. That's girl math if I've never heard anything before in my life. And I loved all of these yarns at one point, and I love them still now. So they deserve to be used, don't they? They deserve to have a life past just being in a skein or being in a donut. So I'm gonna hopefully do lots of stash busting, and that also includes not buying any new patterns, and using patterns I already have in my library on Ravelry and Etsy, my downloads, and using free patterns. I'm going to allow myself to use free patterns as well, so there's going to be a lot more drops patterns, I think, and maybe some pearl sohos and things. I'm going to try some different things out, and hopefully I'll be able to document that a little bit and see how it goes, because financially my life has changed now. Working, you know, I'm only doing 2 days a week as opposed to 5, and I used to be a head of department and have much more income than I do now, so I need to use the materials I have at home for that reason as well, and enjoy them, and kind of it is a bit of a challenge. I'm saying that all with like this very like frugal arty-farty mind to me, that I'm just going to be so like well controlled, but I'm not going to be, and I wasn't controlled because I knew that I wanted to do this from like September, so I just bought loads of wool before, and patterns. I've just bought loads of, I bought a couple of patterns in preparation for 2024, knowing that I wasn't going to buy anymore. So some of the patterns I might have previously bought, knowing I might then do them later, but I'm still going to count it as not buying anything in 2024 because I technically haven't yet, and it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm doing quite well for me to have not bought anything in the sale. Annalise and Jack have just got home from their walk, so I'll be quick. So my plan is to stash bust. My plan is to also do the challenge of the piece by piece blanket and set that for myself, and hopefully work on some of these whips, because they're just, there's no point to them most of them if they're just sitting there taking up space. So I think those are my plans, and I'm excited to go through my stash and use that up. I'm excited to finish things off, and also do some knitting for myself, because I've spent a lot of time recently knitting for Annalise, and I love making baby things, but I also want to make some stuff myself too. I really like wearing things that I've made, and I think because a lot of the things that I do have for myself I knit right at the beginning of my knitting journey, and they're just like bad with their gauge. They're quite baggy and they don't really fit right, so it's time to knit some stuff for me, maybe, as well as doing stuff for Annalise too, of course. So I'm sure there'll be some more of those things coming. Cool. Well, if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm now going to try and put some of this wool away, and also show some of this yarn off, and maybe do a little bit of a video of some of these. So it was lovely to talk yarny things. Thank you for sticking around, and now I'm waffling loads, so I'm just going to go. Happy New Year, everyone. Have a fantastic start to the year. Enjoy starting off slowly and still being relaxed, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye. Bye.